So let's talk about the ProForm Model 4 vacuum forming unit, some of the setup features and benefits. First off, there are 3 handles that are included in the package. One shorter one for the front of the frame, which can either be set on the left or right side of the frame depending if you're left-handed or right-handed, which allows you to open and close the frame. And also 2 rear handles, one that's affixed completely inside, and the other which goes into the hole which has the red button attached. That red button maintains and holds in a detent pin which has a nylon button on the end. That nylon button butts up against the center pin, and when you screw the handle in place, what it does is it allows the platform to maintain its position without sliding. And I will just turn that in just to show you how rigid it is. And I'll turn this. So now you have the flexibility of adjusting the height between the element and the frame and the material being held in the frame. And this is beneficial because many different materials have different heating temperatures, and this would allow you to vary the amount of distance. One of the other cool features on this unit is, of course, our sealed membrane now. There are no more toggle switches for vacuuming on and off, and in fact, they're just push-button membranes. You have a power, you have a vacuum, and a heat button. One of the great things about this is when you actuate the vacuum after your material has been heated, it automatically turns off the heat, which would keep you from leaving the unit on and walking away once the vacuum forming is completed. Also, and I know how this works in my laboratory, you get busy, your heating unit is on, you have yet to have swung it over the top of your material and it's sitting on. Well, after 7 minutes, it shuts off all by itself because of the fact that it has a sensor that indicates that it is overheating, and it will shut it off to keep it from damaging itself. Another neat feature on this unit is that it is now gasketless. We just have a bead that runs along the middle of the frame, and the reason that we went gasketless is because of the fact that we had many people that were complaining that gaskets start to erode, fall apart. We tried to use different materials, but subjecting to heat over a period of time just causes the gaskets to naturally break down. So the best way to design around that was to design a platform which was raised, and once the material's in place, it actually creates a vacuum and a gasket on its own, so the material itself becomes a gasket. Another neat feature about that same platform, I should probably just leave this down, is these raised buttons that are on the platform which allow for a better vacuum underneath the model. Typically, these holes that would be directly underneath the model are blocked, but because now that we've raised the platform with these individual dots, we allow to vacuum underneath the model and create probably about a 20% better vacuum from the unit. Also worth mentioning is a vented hood that we have on top of the unit, which allows heat to escape while the unit is heating up and heating the materials. 2 things to mention when you are using this unit is that I would keep it out from underneath any cabinetry, and I would try not to extend it too far from the wall or too close to the wall. In other words, too close to the wall, because what you don't want to do is heat anything against your wall, maybe burn your wallpaper or whatever. And then the other part of that is to extend that 6-foot power cord. It's not always good to have the power cord extended so fully. One last thing I did want to mention about this is that when the frame is in its up position, make sure that you completely turn the heating element to the rear of the unit. If you turn it only halfway, you'll heat up these phenolic candles. Not only will they burn, but the eventuality is that at some point when you go to pull the material down, you're going to burn your hands. Next, I'd like to talk about the AirVac unit from ProForm. It has a couple of nice features right off the bat. It's a lower profile, smaller footprint, and it has a vacuum pressure system that's actuated by pressure lines in your practice or laboratory. This is a unique way of doing vacuum forming because of the fact that it's noiseless. The other machinery has a vacuum motor. This is a motorless unit, and such, it makes very little noise. Great for the patients. It doesn't get them rattled when they hear all kinds of equipment going on in the background. One other feature is this vacuuming platform, which is removable. First, we do have the perforated type of platform, which is for conventional vacuum forming, but we also have the beaded vacuuming system where we have beads inside, which will allow us to cover any area of the model that does not need to be vacuum formed, and this would come into play when we have a thinner model and thicker material. This way we can selectively vacuum form any part of the model by just covering those areas which don't need to be vacuumed and only exposing those that do. It is a very simple operational front end with a toggle switch for on and off and a pressure valve. That's it.